as the leading television station, as well as among other leading stations as subsidiaries of Media General, is also be part of this whole initiative to ensure we also get you the right reports from the disaster ground. That's ground zero, where we have, following the Akosombo Dam spillage, the victims who have been left behind, efforts being made to make sure they get relief items. We do know the president went to visit them yesterday, had an interaction with opinion leaders, the chiefs and people, as well as the leading parliamentarians and other stakeholders in the communities affected. Of course, we know what the president's comments have been and what it has generated. But as you ponder over all these, we also do encourage you to cash out. You know, while we commiserate, perhaps when you win, you can also do a lot of donation out of your win of cash out using the short code *439#. Again, let me remind you, *439#. By now, I expect you to have saved *439# in your contact list, so it becomes easy for you to dial. When you dial, you have the various options. You choose TV3, and then you get to be part of this great initiative. And especially in these times, where we're giving out lots of goodies this morning that will be crediting your mobile money account, because you're our cherished viewer, you also tend to follow us as well. And then the win becomes yours, and all of us as a society are better for it. We also do encourage you to follow us on our streams. We're streaming on TV3 Ghana across all social media platforms. And we're grateful that you've also joined us. I think the most important thing is that as you join us, you also tend to have the comments coming in. And so we're grateful for that as well. Let me just acknowledge a couple of people before I introduce my guest this morning. Shaddai Adote has already joined us. Greeting me, says, good morning, Roland. Thank you very much. Bra Kweku, Azria Roja, Akasokri Joseph, Money Nimani, Magdel, Makoni, Solly Evans is already watching, Shraba, Kilfuri, and then a couple of people. Remedy is also there, Shaibo Mohammed, PHK is in Kofodia, Prince Henry Kofodia, Amama Gold is watching us live from the UK as well. And so we have varied sections of the audience watching us, both local and international. We're grateful. Seidu Isaka is also joining, Mahindra Mahama, and then also Shehu Ibrahim, Hamza Junior Di Maestro, Nelson Akotia, thank you for joining us, and then Otokuno Tribune, thank you for joining us as well, and many of you. For those who will be joining us, we have our guest this morning. Representing the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a former member of parliament for Okankwe North. He will be going for the primaries once again for the New Patriotic Party. The date has not yet been set, but he knows that for certain he will be challenging to become the parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party in Okankwe North. A former member of parliament is right here. Fuseini Issa, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to my co-panelists this morning. You make it sound like a boxing fight. Coming from the red corner or the blue corner, but I'm coming from the New Patriotic Party's corner.
And then also representing the good people of Tamale Central, we have Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, a former deputy trade minister, and he's right here. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Alhamdulillah, I'm okay.
Mashallah, mashallah. La ilaha illallah. And then also Bernard Mona. Bernard Mona is a known politician, political activist, as well as advocate. He's a former chair for the PNC. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
Great. Please, if you're joining us, we want to take a look at the president's commitment, indeed, to help the victims salvage what they've already lost. He's already promising compensation, but also in between comments, well, taking a jibe, really, that if they were regular voters of him, of course, that was also good. Even if they were not, it was still immaterial because he was the president for all. His comments, many in his party as well as those communicating for the government say have been taken out of context. But for those who have not been happy about his comments, they say that the comments were unsavory, they were just unpalatable and also unnecessary. But this is the entire speech that he made at that event.
You and your elders, I want the people here, you, beginning with you and the elders, to understand that when something like this happens and government acts, government is acting for Ghanaians, all Ghanaians. I came here because Ghanaians are having difficulties and are suffering. And it is my responsibility to try and help. Because if it's a question of counting who votes for me and who doesn't vote for me, I shouldn't be here, because you don't vote for me. But that is not my concern. And in any event, one day you will vote for me and my party.
To spill, and all the indications are that many more communities are going to be affected. My concern at this point is not about elections. I'm thinking about saving lives. I'm thinking about making sure that my people are protected, that they can keep body and soul together in the various 19 camps that we have established. I think that those comments are not necessary at this point. Already my people think that his response was too late. The way he swiftly comments on disasters elsewhere, particularly in other countries, we didn't see that kind of response rate, and it took a lot of public agitation for him to set up the interministerial committee and then to come and visit us today. But they say better late than never. We acknowledge his visit. What is really important is not just mere visit, mere rhetoric. We want to see what plans are being put in place to alleviate the plight of our people. We have a humanitarian crisis. People don't have access to relief items, to blankets, to mosquito nets, to tents. We have developed a system that will ensure that all relief items will efficiently reach the entire 19 camps that have been established.
And one of our distinguished political analysts, who is a regular on the channel, now it's TV3, the rest of the subsidiaries of Media Journal, including 3FM, is joining us from the University of Cape Coast, Jonathan Asante-Okyere. Good morning to you, Mr. Asante-Okyere.
Good morning, Raymond.
Very good, very good. Mr. Fuseni, what do you make of the president's comments? His commitment also that he gave the victims as well.
Good morning again to you, Roland, and good morning to my panelists. Good morning to your viewers, and especially to those watching from Bukankwe North. I pray and hope that they're having a good morning. Roland, I must first commiserate with the people in the affected regions. It's difficult for you to see your fellow compatriots go through such hardship at this time, and I pray that we are able to put things in place for them to go back to their regular lives. It was important that when we have an incident of this proportion, that the president, the leader of the land, will make time to go commiserate with them, and that's what happened yesterday. Subsequent to that, there's been very extensive commentary on the comments that the president made whilst he was there. But you see, the president, even before the president got there has been extensive politicization of the whole matter. We've had politicization, yes, of this whole matter. We had Honorable Abner Gomashi speak on the matter. We've had Clementa Park speak on the matter. Okujeto Ablakwa himself is not making the matter go away. I mean, not treating it like he should as a member of parliament. These were comments, I won't go on to quote, but they had made on several comments to the extent that because it is a Volta region, the government of the New Patriotic Party is not acting as expected. But I think that even when the president had already given directives, issued a statement, the formation of the inter-ministerial committee to ensure that the people are taken good care of, even in the midst of this challenge. And so the president's comments, if you want to situate it in the situation and also listen to the whole comments that he made and not take him out of context, then I think that it was situated in its right context. I mean, we are people, we are one people. And the president yesterday was showing to the people that, look, he's there not on some political grounds or some political comments that has been made. He is there because he is the president of the nation, and his responsibility is to ensure that Ghanaians are safe. And so when there is an incident like this, he personally, I mean, he could have sat at Jubilee House and gotten the ministers and his appointees to go and do what they have to do. But he thought it wise to go there physically to be able to encourage the people, commensurate with them. And so I didn't think that what the president said yesterday was out of place. I didn't think that he had intention of being politicizing further what the NDC started. And it was even unfortunate that I'm hearing that a member of parliament in the area thinks that at this critical juncture, what he can do is to sue VRA on this matter. I mean, the member of parliament in the area. All because he thinks that there is some extent of politics or the government is not acting as it should. But you see, this whole thing, I sit back and I look at this. I am gathering that the last time there was actual spillage in the area was in about 2010, and it wasn't to this extent. But obviously, this year, the metro people have told us the extent of rain and all of that. Yesterday, I was watching a program on another platform when I heard an engineer from the University of Ghana speak. I mean, people are professing all sort of solutions to these things, what we could do to forestall some of these things. And I'm sitting there as a layman, and I'm thinking that, hey, even in all of this, we have not even mentioned the Bagri Dam. Come in a matter of weeks or months, if the Burkina Faso also have this similar issue of the Bagri Dam also overflowing, that has been an annual affair. The people up north, what is going to happen to them? Are we prepared enough? NADMO, the military, what are we doing? I think that we should be prepared for such eventualities. But given what the president did, I think it was in place. I think the president's comments were fair. And sometimes, you see, we also don't have to take ourselves. I mean, yes, it's a very unfortunate situation.
Mr. Fuseni, don't you think when the president speaks, each time he makes these very controversial statements, and we have party analysts, communicators, and leading members of the party, like you, a very distinguished former member of parliament, respectable former banker, come now to explain what the president said in English? Don't you think it is problematic?
You may term it controversial, but I would not. I would not, actually, because I listened to him speak. And if you listen to the whole context, he had put a context that it is his responsibility to do it. And he's doing it as the president of the Republic of Ghana and not as a member of the New Patriotic Party, because he went on to even remind the people, inform them that when he took the oath as the president of the Republic. And you see, before he got there, like I mentioned earlier, there had been attempts to politicize this whole thing in saying that he has not been there because of certain other issues. So it was important that given the platform, he debunks all those assertions and makes it strong that, look, I am the president of Ghana and I am here because Ghanaians are going through torrid times and I have to be here commensurate to them and put in place measures to forestall their suffering or hardships. And that's what he intended to convey to Ghanaians. And there's nothing controversial about the system, what he's made, the statement the president made, and I don't think it's anything untoward.
Mr. Mutala, if and since then I've seen a lot of transcribing of his speech there fully, and he says, "I want to assure you that the government is going to do everything in its part to assist to make sure that things are all right. I think everybody here, and I hope you take the message all across North Tongue, South Tongue, Central Tongue, that when these things happen and government acts, politics does not come into the matter at all. And I'm reading this because it's on social media put together by, I'm sure, lead communicators of government. When I took the oath of office as president, I took the oath as president for every single individual. Now, where the controversy then is about they don't vote for him, because if it is the question of counting who votes for me and who doesn't vote for me, then I shouldn't be here because you don't vote for me. But that is not my concern. And in any event, one day you will vote for me and my party. That's how you concluded it. Is it an unnecessary comment, unsavory, or it was a comment that has so far been taken out of context?
Good morning, Roland.
Good morning.
Good morning to my two brothers, and good morning to the...
Please speak loudly for me, Mr.
Good
Mutala.
morning to the Musi board.
Your two brothers.
Yes, you're all my brothers. In
We are
fact,
three on the set.
I say good morning, Roland. In fact, good morning, my brother, morning, good morning, my slave. Moses are slaves too.
There's also Dr.
And good
Asante.
morning, yeah, dog. Moses are slaves to the Gombes, and he knows that when they want to cook yam, Moses, they don't peel it. They'll just take the yam with the sun and put in water to boil.
You see how
And
the
they
general is
eat
watching you
yam.
with
They eat
amazement.
yam with kose. Oh, he knows. He knows how you guys behave. But Roland,
He's a wild man,
Roland,
so he's
and
watching you.
and good morning to the good
Interest.
people of Tamale, particularly Tamale Central. No amount of perfume, in fact, oud perfume in Arabia, can be used to wash this president on this reckless, irresponsible, insensitive statement he has made. This isn't the first time the president talks about politics and who vote for him or not in the Volta region. This is not the first time. He has been consistent in attaching politics to issues like that. In the first place, the incident happened not today. The incident happened not today. Do you know when the incident happened? It took government almost a week to respond to the issue, even to make a statement. At the time when this thing happened, our president found comfort to poke his nose into Israel-Palestine war and declaring on behalf of the people of this country that we stand with Israel. We don't stand with Israel. You alone or whoever supports you stands with Israel. Long-tested diplomatic relations we have with Palestine, not because of who they are, but because of our experiences as a people and as a continent, that we had an experience of being subjugated, of being colonized. We had that experience, and that has been the long-standing, diplomatic relations we have with Palestine. More so at a time when the African Union, including Ghana, took a non-aligned position on this matter. Our Ghanaian rep, and I guess it would have been the Minister for Foreign Affairs, supported the position that the continent of Africa should take a non-aligned position. You had a president who went, I think anytime he sees Oyibo, he says anything he wants to say. He went and made that very reckless statement. And at that time, even bringing, let me finish, please. At that time, even bringing Ukraine-Russia conflict. Remember, he made that statement and it created a lot of problems with Ghana. I am scandalized that this is a minister for foreign affairs, who had been a minister for foreign affairs before. Please, I am scandalized that he had been a foreigner. Please, you don't determine. Are you the host?
Are you relating the president?
I am relating this in the context that at the time when lives were being lost, livelihood of people were destroyed, he didn't see the need to make a single comment or even tweet. Remember, this president tweets on every issue. When Floyd was killed in America, he tweeted. And we even organized a funeral service, yes. George Floyd, and spent money. When we had problems in France, he tweeted and he made statement and contributed. Yet any time your citizens perish, unfortunately, he doesn't see the need to make comment. It took President Mahama to visit the place, commensurate with the people. Yet at that time, not a single official statement was made. And when he even went there, instead of him talking about empathizing with the people, he brought in politics. If it had to do with voting, I wouldn't be here. Whether the people there vote for you or not, you will be there because your comfort is ensured by their taxes. The people in that region are also Ghanaians. And this is not the first time this president has made such reckless and irresponsible statement on the matter of sufferings of the people with regards to politics. This is not the first time.
Which one
so
again?
There was another incident during the campaign. He made those statements, the things he did in Volta region, yet the people in Volta region do not vote for him. Why? When President Mahama, the massive infrastructure development in Ashanti, including your own hometown, when President Mahama was doing those things, did he ever go there to tell them that if it had to do with voting, I wouldn't be providing those things?
If he had painted their streets with gold, they would still not vote for them.
But he didn't say, I'm providing these things, I'm providing it, even if you are not voting, I wouldn't have provided that. Let's get the distinction. So anytime the president speaks, someone must come to explain. Someone must come to explain. I think that it was needless, it was unnecessary, it was reckless, very irresponsible statement coming from no less a person than the President of the Republic of Ghana. Look, let's call a spade and not a big spoon. So this attempt to tell us that this was what the president meant, why? The man has tremendous experience. He's over 70 years. He had been in politics for a very long time. So he knew what he was saying. So it doesn't take you or any other person to explain to us what the president's real intentions were. His real intention was that he was trying to do politics to tell the people that I am doing you a favor. Even though you don't vote for me, my being here is a favor. It's not a favor. It was not a privilege. It's a right that every president, when people are suffering in the manner that they are suffering, you ought to be there. Look, any time at all, in many countries, that you have such disasters, and the presidents of those countries refuse to respond quickly, it becomes a political issue. We saw what happened in the tsunami in America. In fact, Australia had similar incident, and many other countries. Presidents are elected to do some of the things that I expected them to do. More so, when there is an unfortunate incident that afflicts or affects your people, you need to show some attention. It took this very reckless government more than almost a week to respond to that statement. So if President Mahama didn't visit there, this president wouldn't have visited there. And my brother is telling us that he could have decided to sit at the Flagstaff House and ask his ministers to go. As if going there and giving attention to the issue is a privilege that the president has. As if it is a favor that the president and this government is doing the people in that region and in that area. It is not a favor. And let me also make this point. The Interministerial Committee.
Yes.
Do you know, strangely, the Minister for Health is not among them.
I've noticed that.
Ridiculous.
Even the Minister for Gender and Children. Children are greatly affected.
Ridiculous.
Child Rights International is advocating.
When there are reports that a lot of toilet facilities have exploded as a result of this. Okay? Mortuaries. And that there's the possibility of outbreak of a huge disaster. The Minister for Health is not in that committee. I mean, frankly speaking, the incompetence of this government is beyond incompetence. It's a moribund. And to be very honest with you, sometimes I find it extremely difficult whether we can sustain some of this crass, gross incompetence of this government that has been demonstrated, that we can sustain this for another a year. I can imagine the agonizing conditions under which the people of this country are, that we need to live up to this. Yet they have another vice president who wants to be a president, and he's coming to continue that crass and gross incompetence. I think that this statement ought to be condemned, and I want to see civil society organizations and the doyens of democracy in this country, they should condemn that statement. Because if President Mahama had made this statement, I am telling you, they would have condemned it. But all of them have developed caca. To the extent that caca, you know when you have caca.
Who has developed caca?
Those civil society, look, the Ghana Bar Association. If President Mahama had made this statement, they would have condemned it. I can bet my last penny they won't say anything on this.
They have developed caca.
Oh yes, caca. You know when you develop caca, even talking is sangpang. That's how the Gumbes call it.
You call it sangpang.
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 So they
right.
develop sangpang.
Let me get to Dr. Jonathan Asante-Otri. For you as a political analyst, somebody who watches the space, you look at what public opinion is, effect on a government's popularity, you make comparisons to some of the huge or developed democracies that we tend to always benchmark our economy and the country with. Do you think the president's comments were unsavory or is a gaffe? If it is, what are the ramifications? Ideally, what also should he have been saying?
Well, thank you, Mr. Walker, and Let me say good morning to colleagues in the studio and viewers. Let me start by establishing the devastating effect of the spillage and, of course, the background to it. I am reliably informed that, unfortunately, the community were not made aware of the volume of the spillage that was going to, be unleashed. And that, for me, is a huge miscommunication. And this has been attested to by the MP of that particular area. Now, if you look at the effect, then obviously I think colleagues in the studio have already mentioned a few of them. All of these have been unleashed into the spillage. You can talk of refuse, you can talk of cemetery, fecal matter. Others have spoken about mortuary, and even some important offices, including the ECG itself. And all of these, you have to consider the health implications, the coroners and all those things, the diarrheas and all those things. And so looking at the effect, if the president has set up such a committee, an interministerial committee, then obviously it tells you that the president is taking this matter seriously. I think about 9 ministries or so. And so you could see that the foundation has been set. Now, all of these things were done in the absence of the president. Okay, so the president comes. And obviously, a former president went there. And I'm told that this thing started somewhere 15 September or so. If it is not true, I stand to be corrected.
Yeah, 15 September.
Yes. So you could see that they were spilling these volumes of water, gradually. And without thinking of the possible effect of things of that nature. So a committee is set up. We believe that's supposed to be. I don't want to assume in a cynical manner that this committee will end up spending more money than what will be used to solve the problem out there. But if our president goes out there, which of course for the optics is important, the president must be there. Because I remember in President Rawlings' time, anytime things of that nature happened, he doesn't care, go like Boko, conflict and other things. President Rawlings used to go there on regular basis. Okay, so the optics is very important. So the president's presence there was quite good, timely, as a way of reassuring the people that, of course, all resources will be channeled to ensure that they are the effect is ameliorated. Then the president makes a statement, as usual. And I want to virtually react briefly to what Mr. Is it Fuseni?
Fuseni Issa, the Honorable Fuseni Issa.
Honorable, yes. Okay, he thinks that I think it is being taken out of context or people are exaggerating on the matter. But I want to tell him something. I think that our president is fond of that. You see, Mr. Rawlings used to create some jokes, crack some jokes, as a way of dousing tension within the system. But communication is important. So if you want to crack a certain joke, you should be very careful how the recipient will take it. And I think that the president, either he does it intentionally or he does it unwittingly. Take whatever he said at the GBA, the recent one, the GBA. You see, you have been invited. You need to speak on something relevant. What do? You went up on the barrage on the former president. Now you have compelled the GBA secretary or so to come out to what? To rebut. The president of GBA also had to say something a bit harsh. So I think our president has not been, forthright when it comes to things of that nature. But you see, for him to communicate in such a manner, I think it is a costly joke that he played out there. And it has a huge political implication because this is political communication we are talking about. And if you situate it within the context of the kinds of things the president has been saying over the period, I can categorically say that our president is gradually becoming a political liability to not only his government, not only the government communication, not only the party's communication, and consequently their desire to break the eight.
You said the president is becoming what liability?
It's gradually becoming a political liability to the government's political communication.
Why?
The party's communication. Because, you see, it is a gaffe. The timing is very wrong. And that is why I painted the background of the effect of all of this. People have lost their properties. And there is no way government is going to replace all of this. So this is not the time to crack a joke such as this. So you see, all the goodwill that you went out there with is gone. To this morning, what the media is spending time on is to what? Is to discuss the negative aspect of your political communication. And that takes away virtually all the goodwill, the intention, right? What's it called? The positive intention of wanting to ameliorate the suffering of the masses. What has happened to Apiate? I don't even know whether we've been able to hand over all the things that we said we're going to do, whether the properties, have been installed, the buildings and all those things. The media is even silent on that. We need to get the Ghanaians updated on things of that nature, so that it does not always become a political banter between the NDC and the NPP. As of now, people are really suffering, and I think that it was unwholesome on the part of the president to play such a huge joke that has a political implication, negative political implication on the party itself in government, the party itself, the entire communication, because you're talking of serial callers and other things. Now they, as you rightly pointed out, they are being called upon on a regular basis to come and justify or to contextualize what the president might have said as a way of what? Dousing the effect of the political effect of such.
Well, Mr. Fuseni here is not a serial caller. He's a distinguished former member of parliament, also a former banker as well.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that political communication, miscommunication, has created a situation where everybody is called upon to come and justify and contextualize it.
I thought you were referring to Mr. Fuseni. That's why I just wanted to correct that. I have this one from Senyu Chaglu, says that the president's comment, that's Akufo-Addo's comments, were reckless and irresponsible comments and ought to be condemned. And he says that, would he be bold to make these confidential or these comments in confidence to the good people of Chebi or the Ashanti region if they had the same disaster? And that's from Senyo Chagli. What do you make of the reaction so far? Mr. Bernard Bona.
Senyo. Okay.
I don't know, Senyo. I just got...
I know him.
Okay.
Well,